Welcome to What's a Mom podcast. You are listening to Doulas Petra
and Jacqueline.
Motherhood can be isolating and hard.
We are two doulas who want to provide a safe place to talk about all things mom.
From pregnancy
To birth.
to postpartum.
To parenting.
Join us as we have real conversations about real life.
Hey guys, you're listening to What the Mom with Doulas
Petra
and Jacqueline.
thanks for joining us today.
Yay!
We are on episode number 15, which is super exciting.
Wow, that's crazy.
I can't believe it.
I can't either. I remember when him and Hod about starting this, and we're like, when are we gonna start it? And then we're like, well, when we're not so busy, and then we're like,
We'll always be busy.
We'll always be busy.
We're moms.
We have 7 kids between us, and so it's a lot. And it's just funny how, it all just came together, and we just decided to take the leap, and now look at us now.
That's right.
Episode 15. Congratulations to us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Today's episode is going to be all about doulas. So we're going to share everything a doula does, a birth doula, a postpartum doula.
Yeah.
And
because
combination
a lot of people don't know what a doula is. They think you're a midwife, which is crazy. Which we're not. We do nothing medically.
That's
so
so we're going to share all about that. And make sure you stay tuned until the end because we have a special announcement to share with everybody.
Pretty exciting. What can it be?
Yeah, exactly. So stay until the end.
Stay until the end. All right. Well, let's just get into it.
Yeah. So we'll start with a birth doula and then we'll get into postpartum doula maybe.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. So, a doula, our role is to provide evidence-based, what's the word? Care, yeah. And my goodness, to provide to the mother evidence-based information and support, because it's very different what midwives do versus what doctors do, and their roles are just different. And so I would say that, a lot of people, I didn't know what birth was going to be like at all. And it was scary. And one thing that having a midwife does, I remember having a midwife was amazing. Just the care that they gave and the information that they gave. And I had no idea that doulas did kind of the same thing, but we just don't do anything medical. So example, we come to your birth. We can't go above doctor's orders or anything like that. But we're there to care for you in a lot of different ways. Midwives, they're there to come and check you, see if you're dilated and stuff. And whereas doulas will come and will support you, and we might be able to tell you different positions that you can be in. Things like that are helpful. Or if somebody was unsure about home birth versus going to a hospital, we're the ones that educate you on what can be the pros to having a home birth and having a doula, and how it can be different from a hospital birth. So it's just, we don't do anything medical. A lot of people are like, oh, are you a midwife? No, we don't do that. So it's we just are there to care for the mom and just provide information. If they want to know about should they do delayed cord clamping or whatever, all kinds of things like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the specific definition is provide informational, physical, and emotional support.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't have training to be the healthcare provider, but we're an extra support person. And what that looks like specifically, that's a very good generalized explanation. But what that looks like specifically will change. It'll differ depending on each family.
Absolutely.
Maybe even each birth.
I think so.
And
none are the same.
Yeah, we go with the flow. We're very we've learned to read the room and to see, okay, you know, what is it that I need to do? So with one birth, it might be more of a role of actually helping the mother and helping her move into new positions and helping just reassure her of her birth affirmations that she's been telling herself her whole pregnancy, or maybe it's reminding her slow, relaxed breaths. Maybe ignore that.
It's late.
The unedited version.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh dear. Or like supporting the spouse.
Yeah, and maybe for a different birth, it might be supporting the spouse, or
how can they help their spouse?
Maybe they're more of an anxious person, they're not sure what to do, so maybe the doula can say, okay, I need you to go and help your partner to get into this position. See if she likes that, or try to do this and we can teach you how to do counter pressure on the hips or on the back, which a lot of women like. Not everyone, but a lot.
Some will tell you don't touch me, and then we just respect their wishes and we just stop, of course.
But you never know until you're in the moment. Like, I liked it with a couple of my births and not others.
I know. I remember.
So it changes. Maybe we say to the partner, okay, go take this drink, you know, give it to her. She needs to stay hydrated. Maybe it's just saying to them, you know what, you need to go and take a break. Go sit in the other room. I got this. I'll take over for a little bit until you're ready to come back, because maybe it's been a long labor. There's so many different things that I could do. Maybe it's we're just helping kind of in the background. Maybe we're the ones who are getting a cold cloth, right? We're making sure it's cold so it can go on the mom's forehead or you know, wherever. Maybe,
or filling a birth pool.
We're cleaning up after.
Absolutely.
So it can vary a lot.
Whatever the mother wants, typically will do. And that could be very different for every situation. Maybe you're the one, they have family in the hospital room and they're not progressing, and they're like, hey, can you just kindly go and talk to them? Be like, hey, can you guys just step out and just give her some time to labor by herself? And maybe she doesn't want to be that person because she's just not in the right headspace, and she just feels like she'll be received wrong. I know that can be something for sure. I know somebody told me they had a situation where they were the person that did that. And it just took the pressure off of the couple so that they could, you know, not focus on kicking everybody out, but focus on getting their mind and body right so that they can give birth to their baby. So, I mean, it could be a lot of different things.
Yes. And we're going to be an advocate for you.
Absolutely.
And so beforehand, you have at least one meeting during pregnancy. Usually a couple. But at least one, so that we talk about, okay, what are your birth plans? What are you hoping for? What are your wishes? What are your likes and dislikes, things that you've thought about ahead of time. So that we're informed of what it is that you're wanting. And so, for example, maybe the mom says, I want to have an unmedicated birth. And she decides to have a hospital birth, because we can support women at home, birth center, hospital, wherever.
We definitely can,
So we say, okay, well, I'll be there to help you through your birth at the hospital. And when you get to the hospital, you're in the middle of labor, and as the birthing person, you decide, you know what, I want some meds. I can't handle this anymore, because you've hit transition. Almost everybody says this. It's so extremely common.
Everybody feels that way.
And that's usually when you know the baby's almost here. So as a doula, it's a lot easier for us to say to you, you know what, you told me that you did not want this. And we can remind you of all the reasons why, everything that you told us. Whereas a partner, a parent, other people that know you really well, they're going to have a little bit of a different view, because they're going to see you and like, oh, you know what, mate, like, I feel so bad, like you're in pain, I want to just help you, and they might cave a little bit easier. Or we're like this extra outside perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which can help a lot if that's something else that you want, because it's so much easier to cave on your wishes when you're in the middle of labor.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, if the mother really truly wants something like meds, when they went into it thinking they didn't, we'll always be the one to support them regardless.
Yeah, she can still make that choice. But we just remind her what her initial wishes were.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, whatever she wants, we do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's how it goes.
Yeah. And then we would help with some of the cleanup initially, right after. Mm-hmm. And then once mom seems like she's settled, her and baby are okay, then we will take off. Mm-hmm. We'll check in a little bit later. Mm-hmm. And then we have at least one more postpartum visit, maybe multiple, depending on what kind of deal was made.
Yeah, you can, we'll talk about postpartum doulas, but they're paid separate. But I mean, when I finished my schooling, they say that you're supposed to do one postpartum visit. You're supposed to go there for about 3 hours, help out wherever you can, do laundry, feed them, make a meal, whatever that might be. Yeah. Hang out with the baby, or if she has extra kids, maybe she wants to nap, and then 2 visits that would be prenatal visits. So, but it depends.
This varies.
It varies.
Depending on what your needs and wants are.
Absolutely. And I mean, at the end of the day, we would say that we're not like on call till 37 weeks or something.
36 or 37 weeks, depending on the doula.
But at the same time, we're going to be there to support the mom. So if they text us at midnight, I'm not going to get mad and be like, oh, I'm not going to respond, obviously there has to be some type of an agreement where you have boundaries, but at the same time, if they text you because they're leaking fluid and they're scared and they don't know what to do, obviously we always have to say contact your healthcare provider always. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, even if it's outside of that 37 weeks or whatever when you're on call, we're always going to try and be as much help as we possibly can to the mother. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just someone who's way too nice, and so is Petra. I would oh my goodness, for example, the first birth I ever went to since becoming a doula, and I ended up missing the birth, and it was all supposed to be the way it was, and I beat myself up so bad. I remember I was at Petra's house and I was crying. I was crying so hard. I physically threw up. It was just crazy. And I just felt like such a failure. But in the end, it ended up that she didn't need me there at the birth. She needed me after. And so it was so cool because I didn't really want to go because I felt like failure. And the midwife's like, no, she'll still need you, so I went. And here's boundaries. I just thought, the midwife thought I would go a couple hours, 3-4 hours. And I ended up staying 13 hours, and she was amazing and watched my children. But that's the thing, is that it's I think that'd be hard for me to just come up with okay, what's a good boundary? And
but you learned from the situation.
But I learned from the situation, and now I know. But yeah, at the end of the day, even if we have already put in so many hours, we're always going to be there. I mean, I would anyways. I would want to make sure that the baby's good, the mom's good, and in that postpartum visit, we're going to make sure baby's latching if you want to breastfeed.
But you also have to remember too, though, that we do have our own lives.
We definitely
and us personally, we both have our own families with young children still.
And husbands.
So yeah, you need to remember that our time is valuable as well. So although we want to be there to help you and support you and do whatever we can, we also always ask anyone to respect that as well and not take advantage of it either.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm someone
it's kind of it goes both ways. You're not supposed to be admitting this.
I would be the one that's taken advantage of, because I was, but that's okay. But yeah, that's just how it is. Our role is we want to help the mom in any way that we can. But obviously there has to be, There has to be some
But you
type
said you
of
wouldn't have changed it.
an agreement. Yes, I know. And in the end, obviously, that is crazy, you know, because you're not always going to find somebody who's going to watch kids for 13 hours.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, right? You just, it is what it is. But I learned, you know, from the first time, and now I know next time what's expected of me, and that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, if you want to text us, you want to send us pictures of your baby, you know, like we'll always be there.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, there has to be some type of boundaries too.
Yeah.
So.
And the doula is also the person who you can go to like text or email us and say, hey, I'm just wondering, is this normal? Because maybe you're like, I don't know if I should be bugging my midwife or doctor. Contact your doula. Ask us.
Yeah.
Because most of it, we've had babies of our own, so we've either experienced or we just know about because we learned about it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And if we don't know, we'll tell you, you know what, I'll get back to you. We'll find out right away and we'll let you know.
We'll find an answer for you and get back to you. Yeah.
So that's something else that you can always do is just like, I'm not sure, you know, is this normal? Is it normal to, if I lost some mucus plug, does that mean I'm having the baby right away? Maybe you forget how many times you're supposed to be feeling the baby move and you're worried about it.
Yeah. Just reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be anything. And if it's the middle of the night and it's not an emergency, you might not get a response right away, but we will respond soon.
Yeah,
the next morning.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're right, because your doctor or midwife may be busy. And so.
And they all have different rules on how often or what you contact them about as well.
Yeah.
And doulas are kind of there to help with some of the non-emergency type questions, right? Non-medical, I guess.
Yeah, and we'll always tell you if it seems like there's an emergency situation to always contact your healthcare provider, because we are not supposed to be liable for that. So
yeah, because we're not actually trained in the medical stuff. We just are very knowledgeable in things surrounding pregnancy and birth.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then after the birth is done, I guess we can also talk about the hours of the birth. A birth doula we do not tend to create a certain number of hours that you can only be in birth because it's so individualized.
My friend was at a birth for 2 days.
Yeah. Exactly.
As a doula. Yeah. Yeah, for real.
I mean, there may be a point where we're just too exhausted and we cannot physically support you if it's too long of a labor, and then we might need to go take a break and then we can come back.
Absolutely.
But generally speaking, we would try to stay there the whole time as long as we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
To help you out, because this is something we've been preparing for. And it's why birth doulas cost a little bit more than postpartum doulas, because we're on call. We don't know how many hours we're gonna have to be there for. And usually you'll call the doula a little bit earlier. Well, I mean, you might call at the same time as the midwife or doctor, but we can come see you sooner. You don't have to be
so far
at a certain point, right? It's like if you need that support, we're gonna be there.
I would say no matter what kind of dilation you're at, we would definitely make sure that we support you.
Yeah, if you feel, okay, now's the time, I need that extra support now.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say I agree with you. Yeah.
So then that leads us into, I guess, postpartum.
Postpartum, and what we do in postpartum, exactly.
So then a postpartum doula is somebody who helps support the mom, baby, and family in the first year of life. So, I mean, technically it can be any time in that first year. Most people use these services in the first few months because that's when it's a little bit more difficult, when you're still healing yourself and everything.
Absolutely.
But we can still do it in that whole entire first year. And Jacqueline, you kind of mentioned some of the stuff that we do postpartum, right?
Yeah. Like if you need us to make some meals or come hang out with your kids so you
light,
can have a nap.
Light meals, nothing like
sitting there cooking
heavy
a turkey dinner for you.
We can make some. Yeah, exactly.
You don't want me making a turkey for you. I'm just gonna be honest.
But we can make some easier foods, or we can make some snacks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Make some cookies for you.
Yeah. We might help with some light housekeeping. Like, we're not going to scrub your toilets, but we can sweep the floor. We can wipe the table. We can wash the bottles.
Yeah.
Fill the dishwasher,
Exactly.
Fold some clothes for you.
Mm-hmm.
Things that are simple, but still helpful.
Absolutely. And it can be overwhelming for a mom if she's healing and tired.
Yeah.
We're just there to provide any support that they need. Maybe it's, they need help breastfeeding.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's not your first baby, we can help watch the older siblings. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you want to spend time with the older siblings and you want us to watch the baby for a little bit. We can do that. Maybe you need us to watch the baby so you can go and nap without holding that baby for a little bit. Maybe you want to just watch a movie in your room. Maybe you want to have a bath. Whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
You can do it. And we kind of help support you in that way.
Yeah.
There's also daytime and nighttime.
That is true. I didn't know that. So if you're tired and you want to hire a nighttime, person to help you.
Yeah.
Like if your baby has colic.
Yeah.
That happens. And so then we can come and do that nighttime thing when mom's exhausted, and if dad has to work kind of thing, we can just come over and snuggle a baby and try and get them to stop crying kind of thing too.
Yeah. Or maybe if you're bottle feeding, whether it's formula or pumped milk, maybe we help prepare the bottle and feed baby in the middle of the night so that you can just sleep all night. Maybe if you want to continue breastfeeding, we just bring baby to you if you have them in a separate bed, whether it's your room or another room.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want a little help while you're sleeping. That's when you want us to tidy up and prepare some snacks and light meals for you.
Yeah.
So the nighttime postpartum hours are usually slightly more than the daytime just because it's a night shift.
Yeah.
But it can be really beneficial, especially since in the beginning, babies don't really sleep our cycles.
No, they don't. Some are really good and they sleep right out the gate.
But
most are still getting their days and nights figured out for a while, and that's super normal.
Yeah. Because when they were in the womb, when you were sleeping at night, you were stopped, you were still, and the baby kind of woke up and they're moving around. And during the day when you were awake, you were moving. You're rocking that baby to sleep.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why it's backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then when you're up during the day, you're walking around, you're rocking them to sleep. It's like, so then at nighttime when you're laying down, they're like, it's time to kick and punch my mother and keep her up all night long.
Yeah.
I remember my kid, I'm not kidding, every single night at 3 a.m. he'd be doing some jump kicks in there. And I'm like, oh no, this is horrible. Yeah. And I did not sleep. And it made sense because he just thought it was time to party. So even when they come out, it takes some time to figure that out. That's super normal. There's nothing wrong with your baby. That is life.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why we're here to provide extra support and help if you need it.
Yeah.
Because it might be easy for some moms.
Yeah.
It might be really, really, really difficult for others.
We also can be there just to be an extra ear if you want to talk about your birth and how it went, share your birth story. Maybe it went really well and you just want to share that excitement. Maybe it didn't go as planned and you're mourning what you wish you had and you just need to talk about it.
Yeah.
We're there to listen, to talk about it with you. If you need this is where the informational support comes from, is if you need help with finding some other type of professional. Maybe you need a postpartum massage therapist.
Mhm.
Maybe you want to get acupuncture. Maybe you feel like you need to talk to a therapist because 1 in 4 women do have postpartum mood disorders. It is very common, actually, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's nothing to be ashamed of. And we can give you the number for somebody. We'll find it for you in your area somewhere close.
Yeah, because it's important to get help if you truly need it.
Mm-hmm. So if you need any kind of contacts, maybe local mom groups that you can join to meet some other moms with young babies as well. Those are always really nice to go to.
Mm-hmm.
We can help you find that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had a postpartum doula with my second.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
And it was not immediately after. It was when I realized that I actually had postpartum depression.
So when was that? Like
around 6 months.
Wow, around 6 months.
So my oldest was just turned 3.
Yeah.
And then the baby was about 6 months. Yeah, because they're 2.5 years. Yeah. And it was totally worth my money. Like, we budgeted for it, even though we were financially not doing amazing at that time and things were tough. We budgeted for it and we said, you know what, it's worth it. And we hired a postpartum doula, and I was so grateful for her.
And what did she do for you specifically?
So what I had her do is I had her spend time with my older child. So she did things with Andor. So she brought a bag of goodies, of like her own toys from home, and some like activities that she made. And he thought it was the coolest thing. And then she had stickers, and she'd give him a sticker.
I love that.
Which was really nice. She washed the dishes a couple times. And swept. She watched both him and the baby a couple times. Once I literally just watched Netflix in my bedroom because I just wanted peace and quiet. And it was
you
glorious.
Just wanted it your own time.
Yeah. And my husband was working, and so he wasn't there to take over during that time.
Yeah.
During those certain hours.
It's amazing.
And then another time I went, like, I just go have a shower in peace and not have to worry about, oh, is the baby going to wake up and start crying or, whatever.
And if she did, then someone would tend her kind of thing. So you could have that break that you needed. Yeah. Was Tom working out of town at that time? No, he was just working an on-call shift. So he was working a lot of extra hours. Yeah. And couldn't always be home. I remember that. So it was tough, but I was very, very grateful for spending that money on. How long did you have her? For a couple days, didn't you? More than like a week. Days. I think we had her come. It was like a week, maybe it's longer. I don't know. 3 times a week for a few weeks, I think. Wow. And that really helped. I can't remember. For you. Whatever it was we had in our budget is what I said to her. I said, okay, so how many hours can I get? With this amount, with how much you charge. And she said, okay, well, this is what I charge, and this is how many hours you'll be able to get. You can decide how you want to divvy it up, basically. That's cool. And so then we came up with a plan. So it was well worth it. And that same birth is the one I had a birth doula with, and she was amazing as well. She was reading me birth affirmations that I had on my wall, just reminding me when I was hitting transition. She was doing counter pressure on my back. She was bringing me my water. She was there kind of helping my husband through some stuff because he struggles a little bit with getting anxious when I am having babies. He's like, you go up there, Jacqueline. I'll stay down here. That's good. I'm like, okay. Love him, but birth is not his forte. You're the boss. Yeah, it's really not, but that's totally cool. Which is fine. Because you can do it. I don't really need anyone to be there, let's be quite honest. No, she really doesn't. It's quite if it didn't freak everyone out, I could go just
lock myself in the washroom and give birth on myself.
We probably could, which, yeah, I would have to agree.
I'm not going to, but I could.
I would have to definitely agree with that, yeah. But that's the thing, not everybody is like
everyone's different though.
Yeah.
So that's why I like the support we offer. It varies so much.
Yeah. And we're just there to advocate for you, whatever you want. We want you to have the birth of your dreams, and however we can make that happen.
Yeah.
We'll try our best. Sometimes it doesn't work out, you know, sometimes there's issues, you know, things that present themselves and we can't do anything, and you know, they have to go for a C-section, and we feel awful, but actually sometimes we can actually go into the OR with you.
Sometimes not. It depends.
I remember a doula that I know, she was telling me that they wanted her in there over it was like they wanted her specifically in there, like even over the spouse. So it is what it is.
It's your birth.
It's your birth. Yeah, absolutely.
You and your healthcare provider make the call. I mean, you ultimately, but in conjunction with your healthcare provider.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're here to support you in any way. And if that means you want us to go into the OR with you, then that's where we go.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then when you are hiring doulas, if it's just a birth doula, you will pay like a package fee. So it's like, okay, this is the amount, and this is going to include this many prenatals, the on-call birth, and this many postpartum.
They usually vary. When you're first training, they say to charge about $600 for your first one, and then maybe like $7 or $8 for your next. But they vary up to about $1,000.
And every doula makes their own choice on how much they choose to charge.
Absolutely.
In their own business, because we are giving up a lot to be on call for people. I mean, yes, we do it because we love it, but we lose out a lot. And if we have to pay for childcare, we have to pay for gas to get there.
Yeah.
We could be losing sleep if it's middle of the night, which most births are.
Let's be honest. Yeah. Your last one was. Yeah. Yep. I was up. Yeah. I was up till 4:30 snuggling the baby while you and Tom rested, and then I went to sleep and I woke up at 11 and I went home to my family. And then it was what it was. Oh, and I even had friends over that day, which my husband's like, "You're nuts. Don't you want to go sleep?" I'm like, "No." I was on a birth high, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, at the end of the day, that's kind of how it goes. And every doula charges differently.
Yeah. Usually, you're looking at anywhere from $500 to $1,000.
That's
for
average.
That birth package, yeah. So it can vary. And most of us, I know both of us, would definitely be flexible in offering payment plans, maybe even not cash specifically, but swapping things. You know, if you feel like you really could benefit with a birth doula, but you can't afford it,
we would
talk to us. We can make it work, because we believe every woman deserves that opportunity if they want it.
Absolutely. And we know that sometimes money is tight. And
we get it. We've been there.
Absolutely. And we wouldn't want you to go into your birth not feeling confident. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then postpartum hours, it's a little bit different. You usually are paying by the hour. So you'll have a set fee and say, okay, this is how much we charge per hour.
Yeah.
Usually it's a minimum of, depending on who it is, 2 or 3 hours at a time. Just because we also have to travel, we have to prepare childcare, you know, all of those kinds of things as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you can decide, okay, so I want this many hours then.
And in your birth package, we will come and see you, and we'll give you like 3 hours of free care, postpartum, to
For
help
the birth
you,
doula, yeah.
whatever, for a birth doula. We still will give you that. And then if you want more, then we can work something out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then if you have any questions, you contact us. If you're wondering, is a doula right for me? Maybe, maybe not. We're not going to say absolutely everybody needs a doula.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'd be lying.
I definitely could use one my last birth. I felt like I was okay my first and second, but I definitely could have.
If you didn't watch one of our earlier episodes about our birth stories, go back and do that. It's long, so make sure
you
have some time. You can hear about her birth there.
It was, something else. And I was like feeling so confident because 1 and 2 were so good. And then 3 threw me for a loop and a half, I think, plus 10. So, I definitely could have benefited from that. So, oh well.
Can't go back in time. We can only
can't go back in time. We just look to the future.
Yeah.
But yes, we hope you guys learned something about what doulas do and how we support and care for mamas and babies.
Yeah, and the whole family. I just thought of something else too. Yeah. I know some people also think, oh, well, my husband or my partner, they're home. I don't need someone else there. We can still be there, even if your partner's there. It doesn't mean we can't come in there and help you. Maybe you guys want some time alone, just the two of you as well. So don't think that we're going to replace your partner or we're going to replace. No. We don't have a specific role like a partner or a grandparent or a babysitter or, whatever. Yeah, we do a range of things. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Yeah. Because then we can answer them for you as best as we can to our knowledge. And And Jacqueline is going to be my doula because I'm having another baby. Number 5. And we're pretty excited because now we're going to be able to do like our birth course and stuff. With an actual baby belly. We don't have to use a fake one. We have a real baby. So we're really excited. Coming in the summer. Yeah, super exciting. So we're also going to be living through the process again. Yes. And we're going to be able to share lots. It'll be so good. Yeah. And we'll even come here and we'll share and I'll be like, oh, what does Petra feel today? How's it going? How are the contractions? How are how's life being pregnant again with number 5? So we're excited to see that out. It'll be good. Yeah. So that was our special news that we wanted to share. Yay! Yeah. Well, so exciting. We hope that you guys learned something from this episode. Yes. Exactly. Like you said, Jacqueline, if you have any questions, reach out to us. Yes, put them in the comments. We'd love to answer some questions for you. And till next time, what the mom?